Fractions. Everybody's scared of them, right? But let's say we're multiplying two fractions. So let's say we'll do 7/9, and we're multiplying that to 3 over 28. So people get really scared. They get petrified. They want to run and hide. Guess what? It's not even that bad. So when you're multiplying two fractions, the first thing you want to do is reduce, okay? Reduce and simplify either vertically within the fraction or diagonally. So if I look to simplify 7 and 9, there's no number besides 1 that goes into both of those, so we can't simplify. Now if we look to simplify 3 and 28, the same thing. There's no number that goes into both of those, so we can't simplify that way as well, besides 1. But we can simplify diagonally, all right? And the reason why we're able to simplify diagonally is eventually those factors would be being divided. So that's why we're able to do that. So if we look at 3 and 9, we can divide 3 by 3, right? So 3 divided by 3 is 1. We can also divide 9 by 3 and get 3. So when we find a number that goes into both of them, we divide them by that number. We write our answer next to the original number. So we also have 7 and 28. So 7 goes into both of those because they're both multiples of 7. So 7 divided by 7 is 1. And then 28 divided by 7 is 4. All right? So now that we reduced diagonally, we can multiply straight across. So we get 1 over 12. And guess what? We're done. So see, multiplying fractions wasn't that bad. So here's your steps to multiplying fractions. The first thing you want to do is look to reduce vertically and diagonally. Okay, vertically would be within a fraction, and diagonally would be diagonal, right? Okay. Then you want to, after you reduce completely, you want to multiply straight across. You want to multiply numerators to numerators and denominators to denominators. After you write your answer as a fraction, you want to either try to divide your numerator by your denominator, and if you can't, then you want to try to simplify. Once you try those two things, that would be your final answer. So if you remember this problem, we looked to simplify each fraction, but we couldn't. So then we reduced diagonally, and we got the following. We reduced diagonally this way, we got the following. And then we multiplied straight across. We got 1 over 12. And we can't simplify that, so that's our final answer. Not too bad, right? So let's look at another one. So let's say we have negative 3/4 times 2 over 11. So again, we look to simplify each fraction. So we look over here. We can't simplify 3/4. We also can't simplify 2 over 11. There's no number that goes into both of those numbers besides 1. So now we'll look to simplify diagonally. So we have 4 and 2. Well, 2 goes into both of those. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. Sorry. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. For 3 and 11, we can't simplify those. No number goes into both of those besides 1. So now we multiply straight across. We get 3. 3 times 1 is 3, right? 2 times 11 is 22. Now, this is when I check my sign. A negative number times a positive number is negative. So I'll put negative in front of the fraction. And we look to simplify. Well, 22 cannot go into 3. And there's no number that goes into 3 and 22. So that is your final answer. Okay? See, multiplying fractions is not that bad. Now, what if we're multiplying a number times a fraction? Well, let's say we'll do the number 12, right? 12 times a negative 5/8. Well, if you're working with one fraction, make everything a fraction. So I could put the integer 12 as 12 over 1. So if you ever have an integer and you're working with a fraction, just put it over 1. Now we can do what we did before. So we look to simplify each fraction. Can't simplify that one. Can't simplify that one. So now we look to reduce diagonally. Well, 5 and 1 we can't simplify, right? But 12 and 8, 4 can go into both of those. Now, if you didn't see that, you could do 2 and then reduce it again because they're both even. But 8 divided by 4 is 2. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Right? Your answers next to the old numbers. Now we multiply across. 3 times 5 is 15. 1 times 2 is 2. Now I check my sign. Positive times a negative is negative. Just move this over a little bit. And we can't simplify that. We could write that as negative 7.5, but fractions are really good because they're always guaranteed to be exact, where decimals we might sometimes have to round. So there's your final answer. Okay, so let's say we have 22 over 40 times 12 over 11. So I like to check within each fraction first. So 22 and 40, they're actually both even. So 2 can go into both of those, so we get 11 here, and we get 20 here, right? And we can simplify this fraction. So we tried each fraction. Now let's also do diagonally. And by the way, you could switch that order. You could do diagonally first and then try each fraction. But it's key that you do this, though, because you make your numbers smaller. If you don't reduce, then you'll have larger numbers. And we'll go actually back to that and show you. But now we could reduce diagonally. So if we look this way, the 11s could both be divided by 11, and we get 1. And then 12 and 20, 4 can go into both of those. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. 20 divided by 4 is 5. Multiply across, 3/5. Right? So that wasn't too bad at all. Now, let's use this problem as an example. So here's the final answer, 3/5, right? Okay, so let's do that same problem we just did without simplifying, right? So we had 22 over 40 times 12 over 11, right? So make sure I got the problem exactly the same. So let's say we don't simplify at all, right? Well, watch this. We would do 22 times 12, which we could do. Just use your calculator off to the side, right? So we get, I'm just doing this math to show you. So if we add them up, we get 264, right? In the denominator, we have 40 times 11, and you would write it out the same way. Well, 40 times 10 is 400, so 40 times 11 would be 440. Now you have to simplify this, right? And this is a large fraction to simplify, okay? A very, very large fraction. So if you kept simplifying it, you would eventually get 3/5, okay? Because actually, and it's tough to see, but 88 is the biggest number that goes into both of these. And again, even for me being a math person, that's a little tough for me to see. So that's why you see the benefit of simplifying diagonally within each fraction. So we simplify within each fraction, right, like we did before. And I know we did this already, but just to show you, we get 11 over 20, right? Then we reduce these, we get 1. Divide this by 4, we get 3/5. And now we multiply across, we get 3/5. So easy, right? So it's so to your benefit, so much to your benefit to simplify vertically and diagonally. So to finish off, I'm going to give you a problem. Go ahead and do it on your own, and then pause the video and see how you did. So go ahead and multiply that one on your own. So we have negative 8/9 times negative 18 over 80. So the next 15 seconds will be blank. So again, pause the video, and after you're done, check to see how you did. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So I can't simplify this fraction. No number goes into both 8 and 9. These are both even, so we can simplify them. We can divide them by 2 and get 9 and 40, right? And now we'll check to see about diagonally. Well, the 9 can go into itself, so we get 1 here and 1 here. We divide both those by 9. For 8 and 40, 8 goes into both of those because 40 is a multiple of 8. So 8 divided by 8 is 1. 40 divided by 8 is 5. Wow, this is easy. Multiply across, 1/5. Let's check our signs. Negative fraction times a negative fraction is positive. So our final answer is positive 1/5. So multiplying fractions, you guys got this. Reduce within each fraction vertically and diagonally. Multiply straight across, and then finally divide or simplify. So hopefully you found this video lesson helpful. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. Have a fantastic day, everybody.